everybody. This is Tasha with Prep For It, and my lovely friend Miss Mouse Toes over here. All right. Hey, Fuzz. Good to see you, Mr. Gardner Josh, Morgan from Threads and Jars, Suburban Hillbilly, Aideneer, Gardner Josh, C. Dean. And it'll take a minute to get get this pushed out. If you do have a community page and you don't mind sharing it out, I would love for you to do that. Survival Lily might just be one L, Threads and Jars. I think if you look up, you might look it up with one L and then two L's if you don't find it that way. But she's got a very huge channel, so she's incredible. She's incredible. Hey, Ginger. Hey, Tiara. Good to see y'all. So tonight we're talking about, especially with like supply chain stuff going on, and, the possibility of at any point in time, things being inaccessible for whatever reason. We want to have some alternatives that maybe we can grab some stuff up or grab from a neighbor and make our own, instead of using, if we're out of something, not just scrapping the whole recipe or the whole meal based on that. After this, I am going to be making a video talking about a Prepper's Pantry challenge that I'm issuing to everybody. And the week of Thanksgiving, we're not going to do a live stream that night because I feel like everybody's so busy trying to prepare for those that do celebrate Thanksgiving. So for Thanksgiving, we're not going to have a live that week. But the week before, on that Sunday, on the decompression time, the Sunday before Thanksgiving, we're going to do our we're going to do the competition. Basically, we're just going to go over, and I was going to have people cook the meals and stuff, but basically I'm going to try to do prizes, but it's more about bragging rights and helping each other figure out meals that we can do to help kind of get us thinking maybe where we're not, wouldn't normally thinking outside the box on cheap meals to put together that will be filling. They may not always be the most nutritional, like, have everything in it, but we're going to do meals that are $5 and under and between $5 and $10. So those are going to be the two categories, and it needs to be shelf stable stuff. Like, it doesn't matter, like, if it needed refrigerated once it's opened. If you can buy it and keep it on the shelf until you're ready to use it, then that is considered shelf stable to me. So that would include things like mayonnaise. Hey, Sandra. Also, and Bruce, good to see you. Also, eggs are fine because eggs can be water glass so that they can last longer. So eggs are fine to use fresh, or you could do something like powdered eggs or whatever. But we're just looking at some recipes that might, that's going to be the challenge. And I'll do a video talking more about that. And we're just going to hashtag it Prep For It Food Challenge. Okay, that's it. Hashtag Prep For It Food Challenge. That way I can find it. You might pop me in, send me an email with your meal ideas, and I'll pick like the top 3, and maybe we'll all vote on it during that live stream or something. Like what you would think would be is the most creative, well-balanced meals in those food categories. And we'll figure out something. Bruce has kindly offered to do like a either a coaster set, because he does leather work, a coaster set, or a sheath for a knife if you let him know exactly what kind it is. Oh. So that is very sweet, which is backwoods law. So that is very kind. So that might be an option for our first prize, because that's pretty amazing to have some handmade items like that. So that's an option. So anyway, enough on that. Tonight we're talking about common ingredient substitutions. Okay, and I do have a link. I do have a link. Now you can do it all as one meal. Sorry, you can do it all as one meal, or you can do it as like like all in one pot, or it can be ingredients to make a full meal, like separated on the plate, however you want to do that, casserole, whatever. Okay, so common ingredient substitutions. You know, a lot of us find ourselves in a pinch, like even just regularly in our regular home life. We go in there and we're going to make something and we think we have everything, and I'll be doggone, something's missing. Hey, Sarsco. Hey, Lazarus. Good to see you. You're starting to feel like your whole house is shelf stable. Oh my gosh. So anyway, we need to know some substitutions, some things we can use differently if we want. I tried recently doing a substitution about a month and a half ago, and that was the Aquafaba. Okay. If you don't know what that is the juice from garbanzo beans. It's the thick juice from garbanzo beans as an egg substitute. Hey, Gil. But unfortunately, what happens is I didn't do enough research. And come to find out, you cannot pair that with an oil because it will just make your cake mix a sloppy mess. So it's like a really wet brownie type thing when I did a chocolate cake. So you have to substitute something like applesauce instead of that with the oil. So like you can do the Aquafaba as your egg substitute, but you don't want to add oil to that. You want to do something like applesauce for your oil replacement. So you have to do some research on some of this stuff, but I have a full list here. The link is in the description of this printable list that you can get from All Recipes, but I'm just going to go over some things that maybe are the most common.
And
okay, do what?
And all it takes is a little bit of planning, to have these things in there. Like I've talked before about I make my own glass cleaner, right? But I'm not going to be able to do it without vinegar, rubbing alcohol, and some cornstarch.
Right.
So, and of course I save bottles. So there's common things you should have. Even now, rubbing alcohol is still cheap, as well as baking soda. And those types are peroxide. Those kind of things that you could have on there. And of course, I have to say, I am a Thrive freakopotamus, but I would like to give a hair flip because I know that I now have the prettiest and smartest Thrive consultant because I am now a customer of our own beautiful supermod, Sandra Moody. Yay! So I have a lot of Thrive products that I do not open, okay, that are part of my long-term storage.
Right.
But you have to have things on hand. You have to have lots of white vinegar or apple cider vinegar. Just common sense stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
And you can learn also how to make your own vinegar out of like apple peels or things like that with a little bit of, like, just make sure you save a little bit of that apple cider vinegar with the mother in it and put it in there with your purified water and your apple peels, and you've got yourself some vinegar going. Hey, Yossi, good to see you. So, and hi, Chris. Tell Chris hi, and Chris is happy to see Mouse Toes, he says.
Because I'm adorable. There is no substitute for me.
That's right.
Okay.
They broke the mold.
Yeah,
they broke the mold with Miss Mouse Toes for sure. So one of the biggest things that we find, a lot of people find that either their baking powder has gone bad, like they open it and it doesn't last that long, it doesn't keep its leavening properties. But baking powder, for a substitute for 1 teaspoon of baking powder, you can do a 1/4 teaspoon baking soda plus a 1/2 teaspoon of cream of tartar, or a 1/4 teaspoon baking soda plus a half of a cup of buttermilk. And then you just decrease the liquid in the recipe by 1/2 cup. Okay. So you just have to remember when you're substituting an extra liquid, you need to dial down the other liquids in your recipe. Baking soda. 1 teaspoon of baking soda is 4 teaspoons of baking powder You can use it instead. Or 1 teaspoon potassium bicarbonate and 1/3 teaspoon salt. Now, I don't know how many people keep potassium bicarbonate in their...
I bet they got cream of tartar, though.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's an awesome option.
And self-rising flour, too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it says, note, if the recipe calls for an acidic liquid such as sour cream, yogurt, buttermilk, vinegar, molasses, or citrus juice, you should replace it with the same amount of whole milk. So, oh, you can do it with or without the mother. The mother just makes it go along a little more quickly, doesn't it, Suburban? And like if a recipe calls for beer, you can do a cup of non-alcoholic beer or a cup of chicken broth. What fun is the non-alcoholic beer, people? Come on. Chicken broth. Let's see. Breadcrumbs, you can do cracker crumbs instead, or matzo meal or ground oats. So this is all about like thinking outside the box. Hey, Farmer's Son, good to see you. I hope I didn't miss anybody, you guys. Sorry, I'm trying to look down at my list here. This is just, I'm just going to go through, and the ones that are the most common I'll go through, but there's lots of stuff, like even arrowroot powder, creme fraiche, all kinds of stuff in here, okay? For brown sugar, a lot of people don't realize you can make your own brown sugar, okay? For a cup of packed brown sugar, you can do a cup of white sugar plus a 1/4 cup molasses and decrease the liquid in the recipe by 1/4 cup, or a cup of white sugar or 1 1/4 cups confectioner's sugar. Okay. So these are all things you can do. For butter, you can replace it with margarine, shortening, lard, and all the recipes are on here, so I'm not going to go into detail on every one. For buttermilk, I do this all the time. I don't buy buttermilk to make my banana bread. I put a tablespoon of vinegar or lemon juice, some kind of citrus juice, in milk, in the cup of milk, and I do that and stir it, and it will clot it, and it will make it buttermilk, basically. For cream of tartar, you can do for a teaspoon of cream of tartar, you can do 2 teaspoons of lemon juice or vinegar. So that's an option. Yeah, for powdered sugar, you just put, like Suburban said, you can put that in a food processor and just blend it up, right? Mm-hmm. And it will powder it.
And shake it right through your sieve, like we pour.
And it'll catch any clumps. Yeah, It sure will. Evaporated milk, you can do a cup of light cream. Instead of using fats for baking, especially if you're trying to watch your cholesterol, you can do a cup of applesauce or puree, fruit puree.
If you don't have milk, remember, you've got different types of Thrive milk. You've got the non-fat powdered milk. You've got instant milk, things that, you're simply adding water to.
And will you give us the tips on that, on which type of milk is best for what? Again, I know you've told us this before.
Yes.
Hi, JRC. Good to see you.
And it's actually on the side of your can. Because, let's see, like the instant milk. So I've got instant, non-fat, and then butter powder is fantastic. So instant milk is what you literally add water to, and then you want to shake the mess out of it, and then you refrigerate it. And I love milk. And to me, it tastes like milk. But if I need to make a milk gravy and I don't want to open a can, because they get expensive and hard to keep, is your canned little milks for baking, is then I will always use this.
Right.
But when you buy the ones at the store, like you want to make, like I never buy buttermilk powder anymore at the small containers from the grocery store. Within 6 weeks after you open them, it completely discolors. It is no longer usable. So I just add, what have we got? 4.5 teaspoons of vinegar, white vinegar. I put in a 1 cup measure, and then I fill the rest of it up, right, with milk to make 1 whole cup. and then within 15 minutes it'll bubble. But the instant milk, you've got to get those. But it'll say right on the container which one is best for baking. But I'm old, so I write a big note on the top, instant milk. I'm a knuckle dragger, remember? So that works for me. So
Yeah.
And you can certainly buy those at the store, in little envelopes and things. Just know that once you open that big number 10 can, but once I open it, I'm going to be using it long term, right? And we have supply chain issues now. I'm going to take these, put them in quart jars, put clear plastic over the opening, then a used lid, and then I'm going to suck it down with my Food Saver sucky thing. And that will keep it from discoloring, because the better
Or you
value.
can use a brake bleeder.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you're worried about having something as a backup to your Food Saver for your jars, you can use a brake bleeder and use that and hand pump that out too.
Because you need a backup, right? Because what? 2 is 1, 1 is none. And that's really true, Yeah, Nido, N-I-D-O, Kaylin.
I love the Nido or Nido, whichever way you pronounce it. Mm-hmm. I love it. It has a really good taste right off the bat. Like the cooler you get it and the longer you let it sit and kind of mesh with the liquid, the better. But I've made gravy with that. I put it as powder in my coffee as a creamer. Hi, Arc Wildman Survivor. Survival, and it doesn't have that funky aftertaste that a lot of powdered milks do have.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. I could see this as something like to have on the shelf. It's what it's made for, is a supplemental for families and children. So it's a great supplemental. Of course, do your own research on the age group of what you're trying to supplement it for. But I love it. It's great. And it works really, really, really well. I highly recommend it. It's the best tasting that I've had so far, although I have not opened up my Thrive Life milk. So I couldn't, any of my types of milk from Thrive Life. So I couldn't tell you, on taste comparison from me on that.
It's your good,
garlic,
good
like if
backup.
You're needing a clove of garlic, of course, I'm one of those that I believe the voices of my ancestors come in my head and tell me that's enough, child. Okay, on my seasonings. So, so I don't really just necessarily go by a recipe. I go by what I like and taste. But for a clove of garlic, it says here you can do 1/8 of a teaspoon of garlic powder. Remember, fresh takes more typically.
Yes.
And dried powdered is more concentrated, so it takes less. Or a 1/2 teaspoon granulated garlic, or a 1/2 teaspoon garlic salt, and then just reduce your salt in your recipe. For dry ginger, for a teaspoon of dry, you're going to double that for fresh. So it's a great thing to have. Cocoa, a 1/4 cup of cocoa powder. You can do 1 ounce, which is a square of unsweetened chocolate. So you can do that instead for your recipes. For corn syrup, which I know a lot of people are away from the corn syrup these days. But as far as corn syrup goes, for a substitute, you can do 1 1/4 cups of white sugar plus 1/3 cup water, or 1 cup honey, or 1 cup light treacle syrup. What is treacle or treacle syrup? Treacle. I've never heard of that before.
I ain't buying that. And Hillbilly made a good point. Double is the standard on dry versus fresh herbs. Isn't that interesting? Double.
Yep. For cracker crumbs, sometimes you don't have crackers. You can do breadcrumbs instead, or matzo meal or ground oats. For cream, like 1/2 and 1/2, for a cup of it, you can do 7/8 cup of milk plus a tablespoon of butter. That'll add the fat in there that you need.
And you need the fat. Yep.
Cream.
Also,
go ahead.
If your crackers go stale, or because I always have Ritz and Club crackers, if you open one, it's a stale, lay them in your dehydrator. They just got moist somehow. And also you can Save your ends of bread or stale bread, that's not moldy, dehydrate it, make your own breadcrumbs, But yeah, those are all good things to have that you're sharing.
Backwoods Law says he uses cocoa, instant coffee, sugar, creamer like you would have in an MRE. Well, Jack wants to stay on guard for 24 hours.
Yes.
Yes.
Everybody laughs at those, remember, when they get MREs, oh, we got all these stupid little packets. And it's like, oh my God, in the military, they pretty much open them all up, but they save all of that because that's what it's designed for, right? Is to give you that energy and that pick you up.
Yeah. And also some of that, like the coffee helps your body like move along, because a lot of those freeze-dried foods and things like that tend to plug you up. So the coffee helps move your bowels along and keep you a little more regular.
Yes.
I'm making you hungry, crave stuffing with all this bread and cracker talk. Oh, that sounds good. Hey, Nina, good to see you.
Bug.
Okay, for heavy cream, 1 cup, you can do a cup of evaporated milk or 3/4 cup milk plus a 1/3 cup butter. For light cream, you can do 1 cup. For 1 cup, you can do a cup of evaporated milk or 3/4 cup milk plus 3 tablespoons butter.
And butter is life. And if you don't have that, you can use your butter powder, either from the grocery store or Thrive through like Sandra Moody. Mm-hmm. And having those on hand is imperative. And if y'all remember, Freedom Homestead had a year's worth of butter in her freezer in her basement, and they had a calamity at their house that nobody saw coming, and she lost all that. Because I keep a lot of frozen butter. And when that happened, I was like, bro. Okay, so I have 4 of these now because that scared the snot out of me. Because being without, you don't leave a Southern chick without no butter. Okay?
No kidding.
Yeah, people.
Hello, Leather and Lace. Welcome. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's see. Lard is another one. You can for 1 cup of lard, you can substitute shortening, or 7/8 cup vegetable oil, or a cup of butter. For lime juice, you can use, instead of lime juice, you can use vinegar or white wine or lemon juice. All of these are on that printable, guys. I'm just going through some of the more interesting or common ones. Hi, Caitlin. Good to see you.
I like what you said about printing it out, Tasha, and putting it on a 3-wing binder, chick. So that we're in a supply chain issue now, but when we were in the issue of 2020 where there was little in the store and fist fights over toilet paper, wouldn't that have been nice to have and go, you know what? Maybe I don't have to go to the store at all.
This is like my prepping binder / home management binder.
Yes.
And this is a great way to get those plastic sleeves that have the little binder ring parts on the, inside lip of it. And
page
then just
protector.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, page protector, and just pop them in here. And that way you have them. If the internet goes down for some reason, you have a paper copy. Okay. I haven't dehydrated ground venison, Leather and Lace, but Mouse Toes has dehydrated cooked hamburger meat that's been rinsed thoroughly, drained and rinsed thoroughly. And a lot of them call it hamburger rocks.
Yes. Leave it to our brainiac Gil. Black treacle syrup is a mixture of corn molasses and syrup. Black treacle syrup's dark in color and it has a high viscosity. How often do you get to say viscosity?
A high viscosity.
Yes.
Thank you, Gil. We appreciate that.
Yes. I love molasses.
And for orange zest, you can, for a tablespoon of orange zest, you can substitute a half teaspoon of orange extract. But or a teaspoon of lemon juice instead, and vice versa. So if you're needing a teaspoon of lemon juice or a half teaspoon of orange extract, you can probably put in some orange zest in there. So you got to look at it both ways, vice versa. Trying to see. They have some things in here that are kind of like, okay, like herring. 8 ounces of herring, you can substitute 8 ounces of sardines. Okay, yeah, we get that. So some of these are a little, okay, whatever. But some of them, it's really good to have, some of these substitutes in here that are more common that that are not common sense necessarily. For mayonnaise, if your recipe calls for a cup of mayonnaise, you can do a cup of sour cream or a cup of plain yogurt. So that's good to know. For prepared mustard, you can mix together a tablespoon of dried mustard plus a teaspoon of water, or a teaspoon of vinegar and a teaspoon of sugar. Let me see what else we got here. The idea is to, expand your pantry, guys and gals. Expand your pantry, and the stuff that you use constantly. You know what you use and what you do not want to be without. Mm-hmm. But sometimes we have stuff that maybe we just want to make, like around the holidays or something like that, and we forget an item, or maybe the grocery store is out of an item. Yes. You might be able to find an alternative way to do this. So think of it that way as well.
See, mayonnaise is easy. Like Gil's saying, Palmetto Prepared has. People, it's oil and eggs. Mm-hmm. That's it. You just whip it around in your darn food processor, and you've got it. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you just want to aerate it is all you want to do.
Yep. It'll never be Duke's. Never. That's why you buy Duke's by the case, okay? So that you don't kill people when crap's coming down.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Soy sauce. You can replace that with Worcestershire sauce mixed with water. So a 1/4 cup Worcestershire sauce mixed with a tablespoon of water is an alternative to soy sauce. A 1/2 cup soy sauce. Sweetened condensed milk. Okay, this is something especially around the holidays that we may come across some recipes for this, right? So for a 14-ounce can of sweetened condensed milk, a substitute would be 3/4 cup white sugar mixed with a half of a cup of water and 1 1/8 cup dry powdered milk. Bring to a boil and cook, stirring frequently until thickened, about 20 minutes.
I have never heard of bean pie, JRC Homestead. Supposed to taste like chocolate pie.
Never heard of that, JRC.
Yeah, I'm not going there. No, I'm not even looking that up because I don't even
I'm sorry, that's kind of like onion pie. I really don't want an onion. I mean.
Thank you. Yes. Mm-hmm. I'll always have enough chocolate stashed. I could make a chocolate pie. And I'm not used to, after eating a pie, which sometimes I'll eat half the pie or the whole thing of brownies. I never get bean pie gas after that. We're not going there. And anybody in my mag group who whips out a bean pie, they're gone. Okay, because nobody needs
really.
All that.
We're sick of beans, dude. We don't need that for dessert.
No.
Hey, Bob. Hey, Diggs. Good to see you. I hope I haven't missed anybody. If I have, put a wave there so I see that you're in there. I'm trying to look at my paper and the side chat and mouse toes all at the same time. I only have 2 eyes, and they don't exactly do their own independent thing. So
I think I'm the biggest problem. Yeah.
For yogurt, you can do a cup of sour cream or a cup of buttermilk or a cup of sour milk, which you can make the sour milk the same as the buttermilk by adding a tablespoon of vinegar to a cup of milk.
I have to tell you that my girlfriend left a cup of milk out for days, and the smell was so bad she wouldn't use it. I said, seriously, that's what you're trying to do? Dumber than a bag of hammers. I was like, Lord have mercy.
She was trying to make sour milk, and that literally. She thought that's how,
Yeah, she's just not one with the YouTube or stuff. And I just, I couldn't tell her she was dumber than a bag of hammers. I said, we're going to do that with some vinegar. Can you pour that out maybe off your deck, not down your garbage disposal? Oh, Lord have mercy. Ugh. Yeah, that's up there with bean
breads and jars. No, I have not lived in a shift scenario. Praise God, I haven't. I'm thankful for that. And I know I would just be probably thankful for whatever food was in front of me. But I think I could find better uses for beans than making it into a pie. I think.
Yes.
I would try to make it as desirable as I could.
Hey, see, Diggs is my people. Diggs Outdoors bean pie. Nope, sounds like toots in a tin.
Toots in a tin.
Oh, God, you remember Blazing Saddles?
Yeah. I've got a visual now, though, of opening up a tin and this great big huge fart comes blaring out of it when you open it up.
Go the ingredient for bean pie. God.
Of course, shallots, pretty much, you can do, instead of shallots, you can do onion or leek or green onion, okay. Semi-sweet chocolate chips. For 1 cup of that, you can do a cup of chocolate candies or a cup of peanut butter or other flavored chips, or 1 cup chopped nuts or a cup of chopped dried fruits. Rum.
Yes, now you're talking.
You can do a half teaspoon of rum extract plus enough water to make it a tablespoon. So there you go. Nobody light a match. That is right. That is right.
Keep them away from the campfire. Mm-hmm.
For rice, you can substitute barley or bulgur or brown or wild rice. Okay. Those are options. But of course, for preparedness people, we know brown rice doesn't last as long on the shelf because it's got a higher fat content or oil content in it.
And if you can't store buckets and buckets of white rice, that is still even now affordable. I'm from Louisiana. We do everything with a white rice, and it's just, it's filling. It really is.
Yeah. And I think of like sugar too, for those that use sugar. Okay, granulated sugar. If you buy them by the 4-pound thing, they're what? $5 for a 4-pound thing. Sugar. Mm-hmm. But if you do the 25-pound, I think it's 25 pounds, it's like $12.50 or something like that at Walmart. So you're going to make your ingredients go further and stretch further and last longer if you're looking for those bargains. Sometimes buying in bulk is not bargain, so you have to check it out. But sometimes it is. Mm-hmm. If any of you guys have other suggestions, let me know. That was just a few through here that I thought were interesting. And then you can always have an extra page on the back of this for other stuff. And I suggest things like Mouse Toes said, substitutes for like your window cleaners, your basic cleaners for your home. I have an old book. Let me get it real quick. Let me reach up and grab this. $2,000 Amazing Cleaning Secrets. So there are a lot of ideas in here on things that you can do, your little different ways to help with different things like zippers and soot. Soot would be a good one, especially whenever you're if you're having to do campfire cooking or in a wood stove, things like that. But even for your decanters, ceiling tiles, it gives some recipes in there and some different ideas. So this is one way that you can find books like this that give you recipes, or printables like this that give you recipes on natural home cleaning products. That way you have it and tips and tricks on those things. Yes. And it's best, to keep it we have internet that goes out often out here. Yep. And so it's best to always have those things in paper form in case you ever need them. Downloading them on something digital, like I know Camp Patton Family Compound, also known as Gray, Gray, man prepping. He has a separate device that he keeps in an EMP-proof bag. All kinds of stuff like that. Also downloadables that he's gotten downloaded on that. So, hey, fishes.
What you were talking about was zippers. Something I have a lot of is just white candles, long taper candles. Mm-hmm. Nobody, they're dangerous. When you get a jacket or something that zipper is just stubborn, but it's almost impossible to replace the zipper on a front zipping jacket. I just rub that white candle on it. That wax will get that thing going up and down real smooth. And try some of these things. Like if you always have buttermilk on hand because you make buttermilk biscuits, Try the 4.5 teaspoons white vinegar. Pour that into a 1 cup, and then put your cup of milk. Mix it, of course, with a spoon or a fork. Just stir it around. Give it about 15 minutes and it'll bubble, and see if you can tell the difference in your buttermilk biscuit. So then at least you know how to use it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you could just do a small can at first, or see if a friend has some that you could just borrow enough for one single recipe. And then you would replace it if you liked it. And if not, you just compensate them for the amount you used, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, especially if you have people in your area that are like-minded, you know, think of stuff like that, you know. Hey, BC, good to see you. Our man is here. Mouse Toes, our man is in the house.
Oh, yeah. The man who can make knives and has skills. Yes.
That's right. He does. One of these days, I'm going to have him make me a neck knife. I am bound and determined one day.
I bet that would have helped you camping, too. Because you've been on 2 camping trips. Yeah, much more convenient than otherwise.
Yeah, absolutely. And he just has great quality work. So if you're looking for somebody to make you a good quality product, talk to BC. Also, Bruce with Backwoods Law does sheets and things. So there you go. Mm-hmm. Contact either one of them.
Yeah, I'd rather support a YouTuber, you know, people who share like Backwoods and BC who share how-to things. I'd rather give my work to them. You know what I mean?
I would too. And they're both fair on their prices, I'm sure. I know BC is on his stuff. I haven't seen the prices on Bruce's stuff, but I'm sure he's more than fair on his stuff. So. Yeah. Discover Sustainable Nina says, I ran out of sour cream. I made some using a pint of heavy cream and 2 tablespoons of buttermilk. Left it on the counter overnight. Bam, sour cream. There you go. Bada bam, bada bing. Right?
I love it. Sour cream, just like that. I cannot live without sour cream. That's why I got the sour cream powder.
I know.
Oh, my God.
I love sour cream. And Miss Sandra Moody was awesome enough to give all of the couples that went on our camping trip a beautiful can of Thrive Life sour cream powder. And I mean, it was like we hit the lotto, man. Come on now.
Yes.
That's liquid, or that's powdered gold right there. Okay. Yes. It's great stuff. And it's so good. I have used the sour cream before in some of my stuff, and it is so good. It is so good mixed in, like like if you're wanting to make certain kind of sauces and things like that too. It is yummy.
My beef stroganoff is nothing without the sour cream. You know, at the end. I mean, you don't get it to boiling. 2 tablespoons buttermilk. Okay, I'm writing down what she did with sour cream.
Guess what I do, Mouse Toes?
What?
I scroll up, and then I take a picture real quick.
You print screen. I love it. You're a genius.
I videoed instead. Let me photo instead.
Okay.
Photo.
Camera icon.
Then I write it down later. Okay.
I got you. Yes, I've got my little mini pad here. I just take notes. I've got Backwoods email. That is way smarter.
Right. Pip, and cheerio.
See, you're younger, so you've got more swiftness than I do. Oh, my God.
Sandra says that sour cream powder saves her a lot of money. She no longer throws sour cream away. We go through spurts. It's kind of like that. Like if we're going through a lot, like I might buy some, but it also, like, really for the amount of what you get, because it makes a lot.
Yes. And I don't know if you know this will sound gross to people, but if you ever get a little green on your sour cream, if you just drag that off, throw it in your sink, you're good to go. But it freaks some people out.
Well, it's the same with cheese, unless it's just like all over the whole thing.
Yes. And you can smell it when the cheese is bad. You can absolutely smell it. See?
Hey, Corey, thanks for sharing it out. Josh, thanks for sharing this out. I appreciate it. And if you guys have a topic that you're wanting us to discuss, hey, Giggles, good to see you, girl. If you guys have a topic that you want us to discuss, we're more than happy to do what we can. Hey, Abby, good to see you. Bountiful Harvey - Abby. Good to see you, girl. I hope you're doing well. So yeah, we're just trying to get you to be thinking, just because you go to do a recipe or maybe you go to clean something and you don't have the normal stuff that you normally buy or whatever, you want things on paper or in a hardback or in a book that you can go back to, trusted recipes.
Yes, this was so hard for people to imagine. Remember when we used to talk about this, Tasha? About imagine if you go to the store and you can't find, we certainly didn't think toilet paper, or we said ground beef is so expensive you can't buy it. It was just scenarios to us, right? Before 2020 and the issue, right? Now it's real, and it's been real since then, and we're going on 18 months, and it's crazy.
I never in my life thought it would be hard to get canning jars of all things.
Right, lids.
Lids, jars.
No, not enough cheese in the store. No chicken on the bone.
Yeah.
And that is where it's Glenn Beck who is the one who said all this was coming years ago, who I followed.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Yeah, and that's when I amped up my canning, right? There may not have been no damn chicken in the middle of 2020, but I have my chicken in a jar. There may not have been, well, ground beef was $8 a pound. We weren't paying that. And that is why, thankfully, I know how to can ground beef. So you don't have to be a canner, but if you know you couldn't find that in your area, get with Sandra Moody for the Thrive. Get the price that is there on what the hamburger rocks are. It shows you, and they all rehydrate very well, or buy them in the store if you want to. Yeah. I'd be a little afraid of that if it weren't Thrive or Augustin Farm. I want something very dependable because they have to get the grease out of it, the oil, to make it safe, just like I do when I can.
Yeah.
But so we already have the experience. What if you, like I said, you make buttermilk biscuits every morning for your husband goes to work, and then of course nobody could go anywhere or felt safe going anywhere for 14 days, were asked not to. If you'd had the vinegar, right, you could have made your own. So think of the things you didn't have. It's not just a scenario anymore. It's been real. And that's why I've ramped up my dehydrating as well. If you can dehydrate and this is the time of year for it, the bags of mixed vegetables that are frozen, the Green Giant, whatever, those are flash frozen in the field. Even doctors said, you don't have to grow your own carrots for your infant, but you got to get the frozen if you want to, mash it up and put it in ice cube trays to feed your own infant, because that is still, even now, a safe product. So Fern will get bags of those, and then I do a couple dehydrator runs. And I mean, you fill up quart jars, this is just a pint, with that, and it will literally hold 6 bags of frozen vegetables that you've dehydrated. You could add that to a stew. You can put it over rice. You can toss it in the pot pie.
Yeah,
anything. And if you're going to choose to freeze all your meat, don't count on that if you do not have a generator or some kind of battery backup power to keep that going.
Yeah. And if you're somebody like Kaylin Strain, who lives in a very small apartment with very limited storage space, dehydrating is a good way to go. Dehydrating anything that you can dehydrate is a good way to store up some stuff. It takes up much less space. Like for her, it's just not an option to can her foods because she doesn't have anywhere to store all those jars. And so dehydrating is a good way to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But in making sure that you have a variety, look at the meals that you cook all the time and start journaling all of the ingredients that you use in that, including your seasonings and your herbs and things like that. And work on building up a supply of those things that you use the most often. And then work on finding ways to start growing your own stuff. That's going to help.
Yes.
Okay. And like growing your own herbs, you can dehydrate those. Hey, Laura with Hedgehog Homestead, you can dehydrate those and use them fresh, but also dehydrate the extra to have for the off seasons. And all of that's going to be a lot more healthy for you than probably what you buy at the store, because you know what you're putting on your stuff that you grow. So,
Yes.
And, herbs and things like that are also great medicinal. So it's great to have all of that on hand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Sandra, if you could drop your Thrive link, we'd appreciate that for those that want to, are interested in ordering Thrive Life. You're more than welcome. Please do, ma'am. Drop your Thrive link out there.
JRC Homestead did a good thing. Dehydrated veggies and scraps can help supplement your dog's food too. So a lot of people, make their own dog food, and you can freeze that. You know what I mean? So even if you just wanted to freeze your scraps, but if you dehydrate them and you have them ready made, because your dog needs food too, and people were struggling to get special diet food in 2020 for their pets, and that is not good.
Yeah. I don't know if I said hi to Bob. Bob, hi. Sorry if I missed you, mister.
I like Fuzzy says, Sandra needs to get a van and go house to house like the Avon girls used to. And you know what I mean? Yeah, it does help. And then, you decide the things you like. I like that they have small pantry cans and that it's a very trustworthy brand. Because our emergency food storage needs to be stable and safe, just like our canned goods. That's scary,
Yeah. One thing about it, the small pantry cans are not metal, are they? I don't think they are. I think they're like a really tough cardboard. But they're still good quality. I'm not saying that.
Right.
But stuff that you use a lot of, once you've tried the pantry cans, this is something that you will use, buy in the larger and do that instead if it's going to be for a longer term type thing.
I think
but a lot of people,
their small ones are still metal, but I got some from like Augustin Farm, somebody who did it, and I got them online, and the smaller ones were the cardboard, because I love having this number 10 can left over. I can store sugar in it. It's got a thick plastic lid. And if you need to, you can put those right in a fire. I mean, you could boil water in there. Yeah. So that's a good point.
And like you've always said, if it came with food in it, it's food safe.
Yes.
It's a food safe container, people. You can store other food in it once you've cleaned it out. So
when people get Advil from the store or any kind of medication, I use a tweezer and I pull out that cotton ball. Hello, it's sterile. Okay. I buy bags of cotton balls. Okay. Oh, and I have to tell you, they did Backwoods just for like 90 days because of supply chain issues. And I was telling Tasha this, but Vern got a sinus infection, and he gets one like every 4 years, but this one tried to go straight in his chest. So I made him a cotton ball with some frankincense and something else on it. And, you would just normally just kind of sniff that or put it under your pillow. So I go out on the porch and he's out there and he's got the thing hanging out his nose. And he's just breathing through it to clear up one side. Then he puts it in the other side. And I was like, I never thought you could use a cotton ball like that, but they are long cotton balls that you get in your, Advil or aspirin things, and I always save them. So it's perfect. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I can just picture Vern.
Yes. Yeah.
With cotton hanging out above the, but peppermint, I'll tell you, it is great.
That's what I put on it. Frankincense and peppermint. I couldn't remember what it was.
I think I have one of them here. I don't know where it's at, but I've shoved this on my show a long time ago, but it looks like, it looks kind of like a chapstick tube. You pull the lid off and it's rounded on one end and it's got cotton ball inside it.
Stop it.
Or a sponge, and you just drip your essential oils on it, and it has, and then you can just, it has a little hole at the top of that rounded tip, and you can just sniff it.
Oh, I gotta get him one of those. I have to get him two because he'll probably stick it in both nostrils and be like,
when you see him walking,
yeah, all the way to the mailbox. How y'all doing? You know what that reminds me of? Remember the Vicks Vapor Rub that came in like a chapstick thing, but it was very, very round. And I swear
That
my dad used to lobotomize himself with that thing.
that's basically like what it is. But
Okay.
you can get there's a couple of different kinds of essential oil. I don't know what you call it. Not respiratory. I'll see what
For
I can find.
congestion.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's just and you can put like your RC, which stands for respiratory congestion, essential oil on it, and
Thieves.
and your thieves and things like that. But the RC and peppermint and stuff like that, eucalyptus. RC has several eucalyptus in it.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah, because
Anyway.
I find Vicks harsh. I wouldn't want to shove that up my nose like my dad used to in those little containers.
Yeah.
But that's a brilliant idea.
Thank you, Nasal Inhaler. Thank you. My brain is short-circuiting tonight once again. A nasal inhaler, but it's just you can put whatever essential oils for fishes and loaves. She likes Raven. I don't like Raven as much for me. I do better with RC, but everybody's body is different. But you can make your own blends also and put it in there. Like if you're wanting frankincense, which helps fight stuff like the coof. And then you can do stuff like peppermint that helps to like really open up and has that cooling effect. You can even do put some menthol crystals in with your peppermint and your eucalyptus and grind it in there and then drip it on that little sponge or whatever. So there's plenty of options there.
I like what Hillbilly not Hillbilly. Shoot, I lost who it was. Anyway, somebody uses Pan Away on them, which is that their acupuncture? Anyway, that is a Young Living product, and that's the essential oils I like. Who the heck said that?
And actually,
chiropractor sorry, Tasha. I found it, then I lost it. I'm so mental. Husband was weak in the hospital. Who the hell said it? Step 4. It was Hillbilly. My chiropractor uses an oil called Panaway to do acupressure on my sinuses, and it is. I just looked it up. It's clove, helichrysum, peppermint, and wintergreen. Okay, sorry, Tasha. I got all excited.
Yeah, basically they created it and called it Pain Away, but the powers that be, certain nameless officials told them that that would be making a claim that they couldn't be making, so they took the I out and called it Panaway. But it was formerly known as Pain Away.
Okay.
And that does work.
We've got to fill him in on non-medical terms for things because of his medical training. URI is what it's called in medical terms, upper respiratory infection. To that is like our little TT has an infection. Yeah. So you got to get with the woman talk. Backwards law, right?
There's URI and there's UTI. Okay.
Yeah, but when your country, right, and somebody says, I got me that problem, then we know they're talking about their girly parts. See? So, because we got accents and stuff. Yes. Yeah, so
we can say Geneva's feeling a little off these days.
Yes. Yeah. And instead of saying that we've got an upper respiratory infection, we're just ate up with the snot and mucus. It's done gone from our nose into our chest. Right. So, yeah. So you got to get butch. You got to get butch backwoods. We try to paint a picture. Do not snort the crushed crystals, fishes.
Yeah, no, fishes. That's what I was saying. Mix it with whatever oils you're using and then and grind it in there real good. And then you can put it on that.
Okay. BC's acting like you can't hear. La, 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 la. Like, think of things like this, Bruce, backwoods law. Okay. You got a lot of snot under your eyes, which we would call, as a sinus, right? Do you have a lot of snot dripping down your throat for postnasal drip? Are your lungs full of snot, right? And then that's how we paint the picture. Yeah. You ever seen us type to each other in the side? Does it itch? I mean, we just ask the basic. We're knuckle draggers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We suck at an ambulance.
Yeah, me and Fishes and Loaves Life, we have a hard habit with crystal menthol. We just can't stay away from our crystal menthol.
Yeah. See, and I'm thinking Fishes saying don't snort it don't snort the crushed crystal. She might have tried, just to think if she could get her money's worth out of it.
You know what I'm getting the picture of on Dennis the Menace, where Mr. Wilson, after Dennis goes in and he pours drain cleaner in his, he squirted one thing, and so he had to refill that something else with that. So then that container was empty, and it kept going on and on. Well, one of the things he filled up was his nasal spray with cleaner, like Pine Sol cleaner.
Oh.
And so Mr. Wilson goes to spray that up his nose at his bedtime routine, and he sprays it up his nose, and then one eye goes cross-eyed, like,
You know, it's funny.
That's what it makes me think of.
Watching that crazy stuff, right? That could have really killed somebody. And now it'd be like, oh, that's outrageous. But yeah, people weren't that dumb.
Kaylin thinks there may be a support group for our crystal menthol habit, fishes.
Okay, BC says some folks will steal copper pipes so they can buy their crystal menthol. Just saying. Oh, God. She'll snort straight sea salt. See, I just use, and Fuzzy made a good point, make sure you got plenty of table salt with iodine. It's necessary, for a diet. I mean, in general, I like kosher salt, but I make sure that we, use plenty with iodine. And it is my particular genetic mutation, I actually usually end up iodine insufficient. So I have to actually have a little more iodine than a lot of people. So I trade out and I do iodized salt some nights, and then non-iodized, like a sea salt or something like that, or Himalayan pink salt, something like that. My regular salt shaker that I use at the stove, I don't put a lot of salt in any of my canned goods, really, that I'm home canning. But if I'm making eggs or something, I make sure I use that's in that shaker. I have to go in my pantry to get because the thicker stuff, your kosher salt, won't go through your standard salt shaker. Look at that. I don't want no iodine up my nose. Okay, we're
you
not snorting it, fishes. Yes. Oh my God.
Got my credit card here and I'm getting it in the line.
Do y'all remember when the neti pot came out? What the hell kind of torturous person, they've clearly never drowned, came close to drowning, came up with that. So I get the neti pot. I'm hanging over the sink. I almost died. I had to slide down to my old lady knees. The neti pot falls on the floor, and I'm just holding with my hands right there at my kitchen sink going, It was freaking horrible. Don't use that. That is, I had my head tilted. It didn't go in my sinuses and come out the other end. It's supposed to go in one side, come out your other nostril. Is that not a sexy thought? And you're hanging over your sink with your snot or mucus. No, I always felt just like drowning. I was traumatized. Yeah. Oh my God. I didn't even give it to somebody. I threw it away.
Hey, Demeter, good to see you. We are doing great. Thank you, Demeter. One of the things that's really funny is they have that new machine now that basically is like, I don't know if you plug it in or it's battery operated, but it flushes through, and then the water goes in one nostril, comes around, comes out the other, and it has a container that catches it, like the bottom of the container.
Oh,
so it's the clean water that goes in and is pumped through, and then the dirty water's in the bottom. And I'm just thinking, I do not want to be the one to have to clean that out.
Thank you. Yes. Why don't you just blow Flonase up your nose? That's what I do. Yeah, women with tilted heads. Well, if Fishes tells me I had my head tilted wrong, I did not. My head only tilts one way. For God's sake, you can't do that wrong. It's not like it was backwards. God almighty. But yeah, it's just gross.
Oh, my goodness.
Nina's not breathing good right now. You need essential oils, Nina, because Fern got the sinus infection Friday. I got the ear infection, yes, titty. And of course, I always have antibiotics on hand, and they work. I might be going later, but I live on the marsh, so if I need to get to the water, I can.
I have such a funny skit for court later. Oh my gosh, this is hilarious.
What did you have in your hand?
I had peppermint, but I was thinking Courtney's little group is called the Poop Troop. We could do a poopermint essential oil spoof. You know, that would be funny.
Peppermint would burn coming out through your poop, though. Yeah, think of something
No, I'm
more
thinking an
stupid.
essential oil from poop, so it's called poopermint.
Oh, gotcha. Remember when people used to keep matches on the back of their toilet? Real, matches you strike on the little box? Because if you burn that, the sulfur burns off the fart. Okay, my father-in-law had that in his house, and you'd walk in that guest bathroom, and your eyes would cross. It's sort of like when you spray a bunch of Glade flowery stuff after somebody has a bowel movement. Now it just
Yeah, it's
smells
just like flowered scented poop is all it
it's
is.
disgusting. And then the floor is slippery because that stuff lays on the floor. Yeah, I don't like that stuff. I mean, if you cut one, just close the door. It's why God made the fan. Okay. I got fans that will suck your hair up. Okay. I got them good new tone
I
fans.
just got a picture of that in my head.
Yes, I do.
So,
Because they were in my little bitty guest room. They're like, that's a really big fan for that small room. I want the fart sucker, and I want it to pull all the moisture out of there when I have company that I don't get mildew. I live at the beach. I was like, woo, a new tone fan does not play, and they're quiet, but they will suck stuff up.
well, you guys, we're at the hour mark. Just remember the link for all of these substitutions that were mentioned tonight is in the description. And so you can click on there and just click on where it says share. There will be an option to print. And so you can print these or save them, download them or whatever. Whatever you want to do in your technical age, okay? But I like to have a paper copy, and that will be going into my family home management book. So anyway, I thank y'all so much for coming. Please hit that like up if you haven't hit it. If you haven't subbed to Mouse Toes, what is wrong with you people? You need to sub to her.
Hello. Things go on my channel.
And Sandra, if you would share your Thrive Life link once again, or your email, either way. If anybody's interested in Thrive Life, you can contact Sandra Moody, and she will hook you up, man. So anyway, thank y'all so much for watching. I love you, each and every one of you. God bless. And remember, guys, to prep for it. Prep for it all. Bye, guys.